So this one's going to be spiritual warfare. One of them about taking a rest, but also just not fighting, like all the time. Okay. Now, this is how to avoid burnout too. Okay. So in a spiritual war, as you know, it is very taxing on you. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is taxing when you're constantly attacked and when you're just fighting constantly. Okay, it gets very tiring as a regular soldier would. If you're fighting in a war, you will get tired eventually, and you need time to rest, which is taking time off the battlefield, as it were, and just resting, refocusing. And as Christians, what a lot of us will do is we get into the spiritual battles, or we'll get too much on our plate that we're doing for God, which is good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good to have, serving your church, stuff you do for God, but you get too much on your plate and you can get burned out. Okay, it's very easy to get burned out. You can do this at a job. You work your job long enough, you can get burned out. How do I know? Because I've almost burned out at one of the jobs I was working at previously, and also this current one, when I was into this, leadership role, because I was learning, so I wasn't ready for it. God put me in it. He knew I was ready, and I just didn't think I was. But I got really stressed to the point of where I said, I can't do this anymore, and I was tempted to quit. I was burned out because I was just so tired and fatigued. And spiritual warfare is the same way. You can become so focused on battling. Oh, look, a crow. Yeah, crow flying there. See him in the trees? Crow. Yeah, he landed in that big pine tree over there. Anyways, as I was saying, rest, which is why I'm out walking. I know, it's kind of interesting. I'm making videos as I walk. You may wonder, why does he walk? Well, it gets me out. It gets me away from problems and just, I was getting bored, and so the temptations were hitting me, and I've got my dog. See, she has her coat. She absolutely loves the snow. And we're out for a walk because, well, it's beautiful out, and I'm getting bored, so when temptation comes. And this is rest, believe it or not. Because I'm not focused on I'm not on social media, so I'm not focused on video games and all this other stuff. I'm actually out in nature, where you're meant to be, with God. I'm making videos for you guys. Usually I would just walk out here and it would just be me, my dog, and I just walk. But I figured I would start making videos because I'm like, you don't really have a lot of time for making videos much nowadays with, moving up at work. And just the way my life's been going. So I figure 2 birds, 1 stone, just like I used to do. I'll record a video while I walk. Pretty good. 2 birds, 1 stone. And that's what I used to do, and that's what I'm still going to do. So, resting is very important. Because if you don't rest, you end up burning out. And that can be bad in a spiritual war, because a burned out soldier that doesn't care and is just fatigued, you just start not caring and you'll just drop your guard, and then you become a liability. You're not really an effective soldier because you're just, it's whatever, burned out. Same thing happened to David. And look what happened to that poor lad. He got burned out from battle, tired and fatigued, and he stayed back instead of going out with his army, and he sinned with Bathsheba. So that was quite bad. Had he been with the army, he probably wouldn't have fallen into that sin, and that wouldn't have happened. But it's neither here nor there. That's just an example. He got fatigued and tired of battle. And that's what happens in spiritual war. You can get fatigued. You can get tired. Serving at your church too much. If you take too much on as a play on your plate, you can get burned out and not want to do anything because you're just so much stuff. You're just, bleh. You just don't care. And that's what burnout is. You get depressed, you don't have a lot of energy, and you just don't really care. You have a nonchalant attitude, and you just say, I could care. I don't care. I just don't want to do it. I'm tired. Like, leave me alone. and you'll shut yourself off from people, and that's when the enemy likes hitting you. So what he does in spiritual war is he will push you and push you and push you, and the more you fight without rest, because if people think if they rest, they're going to lose ground, but if you don't, the enemy pushes you and pushes you and pushes you, and when you get to your very limit, because even he knows your limits, okay? When you are physically at your limit is when he strikes, and that's usually knockout blows, and he'll knock you down. That's usually when a relapse happens, or you go back into something you said you wouldn't do, and you slip up, and bam, before you know it, you're back into it. And sometimes you say, oh, I'm not going to go to, the same thing can happen when you don't read your Bible, or don't go to church. It compounds. Before you know it, it's days like, I don't feel like going to church. I'm tired. I'm just going to rest. And then next Sunday, oh, I don't feel like going. Something comes up and you go and do that. And then before you know it, it adds up. And it's been weeks since you read your Bible or gone to church. And the enemy's already taken you off the battlefield and as an effective warrior because he pushed you and you got burned out. And you just stopped caring. And that's what's dangerous. That's why you have to pray to God every day, and you have to rest. It's okay to sit back, take a day or two, where you just shut off your phone and just go out into nature. I do camping, which helps. But if you have to, just go to a quiet place and just sit there. You don't even need your Bible with you. Just leave your phone and go sit there for a half hour to an hour and just be with God. Just sit there. In stillness. That's why people say meditating helps. I'm not really into meditation because that's like new age. And like you can open your mind up to other stuff, the meditation they talk about. But sometimes I can sit there and I can turn my brain off. I know it's hard. Usually brain starts racing when you stop. But I've learned, Jesus has helped me where I just flick my brain off and I can just sit there and stare into space. And that's it. Nothing enters my head. It's just resting, and it's a way to recharge. And you can put on gospel or worship music if you want, low. And you can just sit back and close your eyes and rest. That's what God means by rest. And that's why he said, I will give you rest. He doesn't want you going all out, all the time, 100%, because as a human, you can't do that. Even elite athletes can't do 100% all out all the time because you just can't. So you have to rest in spiritual war. And you don't lose ground resting, but just don't let it get into a habit to where you go for weeks at a time without touching your Bible or going to church, because that can be detrimental as well. So see, there's a balance. I said in one video about balancing, whether be dangerous or weak man, but this is rest, keeping yourself sharp. You have to balance it. There's a fine balance. You have to decide, okay, if I take this day, then I'm taking, say, Saturday, for example. You're not doing anything that Saturday. You're reading your Bible. You're going on a walk, and you take your Bible with you. And that's what you do. That one day is to refocus. It doesn't even have to be the whole day. Take 2 or 3 hours, and depends on the severity of your spiritual battles. Depends on the time frame you take. If you've been in it for months and you're just constantly battling and stuff, and content creators will get through this, is if you're constantly making content and you're stepping out in spiritual battle, you're fighting it, and you're doing all this, you can get tired and burned out. As I said, I was really on fire. You'll notice the videos have changed slightly because I've learned a bit. You'll notice I went for quite a long pause without uploading videos. Sometimes I do that. I'll go for a few days here and there where I don't upload because it's usually during the week. I'm working at my job, and being a leader now, it's more taxing on you. Being in a foreman leadership role, it's more taxing. You have more to do. And God helps immensely with it, but still there is a lot of work to do, so I'm usually wiped during the week. When I get home, I usually eat supper, read my Bible, and and just rest the rest of the evening till next day work, because it's just so wore out. And I know God's helping me this way, because I know when my spouse comes along and I get married and have kids, I won't have much rest time. So it's I guess getting into practice with burning up your energy levels now, so it prepares you for it. But do not neglect rest, okay? Rest, relax, and just, you have to refocus. But do not neglect rest, okay? Rest is very important. You need it to be an effective soldier. So rest, as God says. Pray to Him to give you rest, and just take some time and refocus. Take time for yourself. Just step away if you have to for a day or two. Just put your phone away. Just, maybe send a text out and say, hey, I'm taking some time to myself. I won't be around for a day. So, I'll contact you after that. And then you just set it aside, or even let your family know, and you just take that day and it's just you. Go for a drive. Go sit on some back roads somewhere and just ponder and rest. Anyways, I'll leave the video off here. There's been a voice in the wilderness, soldier, bondservant of Christ, signing off. Whenever you see this, have a blessed day or night. Stay safe in these dark and crazy times, and keep on walking the path. Because there is a war, and we're in it, but we have the victory. I'll see you in the next one.